It's the Professional Life Advice Show with your host, Will Strickland. Professional life advice, where you too can be a professional. Good afternoon. My name is Will Strickland. I'm here today from Professional Life Advice, where you too can have a professional life. I'm here today with Earl Best, aka the Street Doctor. Earl,
how you doing, brother?
Good. So, Street, you've been at this a long time. You've saved many souls. You saved many lives. You've been mentoring. You've been teaching, instructing. I understand you wrote a book. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your challenges that you had in the streets of Newark, New Jersey, and the community, and things that you're doing currently.
Well, first of all, thank you for the interview. I've been doing this now. This is my 11th year.
Okay.
I started in 2000.
Wow, okay.
And it's just, if it was a job, I would have been quit. But this is my mission. And all the glory go to God.
Right.
Yes, I have a book out. The book is called The Fingerprint, Identifying the Real You. This book is an autobiography of me.
Wow.
Where I've been, where I'm at now. And this came from a quote that I heard. I complained that I ain't have no shoes until I met the man who didn't have no feet.
Okay. So, Street Doctor, tell me, I know you guys do something annually. You take the kids out and take them on a bus ride. Tell me about it.
Every Father's Day, all of us get together, my friends of the Street Doctor, and what we do, we take these kids that don't have fathers, we take them to Seaside Heights. And we go in different hoods, different locations. That's a lot of blight, drugs, gangs, all the stuff that's going on here. And what we do, we go and we target these kids and getting them out of here, because we know that traveling boosts the conscience and showing them another look.
This is excellent stuff. So, Street Doctor, tell me, how do you raise money for this? I know there's a lot of viewers out there who really care about the community, care about the children who are fatherless, and some of these fathers who are actually in and out of prison. How do you raise money? Tell us how we can raise money, how they can reach out to you.
This is what we do. I got like flyers and stuff. Okay. And what I do is, my number is 973-600-0877.
Say that one more time, a little louder.
973-600-0877. And people who want to sponsor a kid or who want to contribute or get in a bus, because don't forget, we have to get a bus to get them there. Plus they have bands. The bands, they cost money. Plus we feed them. So people donate, and we take all the money and we make it happen. And we're talking about like 75 kids. The last time we went, we took over 100 some kids. We had 3 buses, but I had a lot of help then. But since the economy done dropped, every little bit counts.
Okay, you can also reach Street Doctor through me at the Professional Life Advice Show. Again, my name is Will Strickland. Thank you for tuning in and joining us here with the Street Doctor, helping, supporting, mentoring, teaching, and training the community right here in Newark, New Jersey. Thanks again, Street, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right.
Trade Center for the first time, and me listening to the Sunday morning classics with Hal Jackson for the first time. He opened my ears and eyes to places in the world of music that I knew very little about. He had a lifelong commitment to helping young people, and specifically talented teens. I can remember hearing his voice when I first traveled to New York on WLIB. His voice will forever be ringing in my ears and mind, and my heart forever. God bless Stevie Wonder. When I got the call from Debbie asking me to do the eulogy for Hal Jackson, the National Conference of Black Churches is going on in Washington, and I called them. I was to speak this morning to say to put me on in the evening, because Hal Jackson I've known literally all my life. When I hung up the phone, I said it was an honor to be asked to be here, particularly because Hal had always told me I was his favorite preacher. Reverend W. Franklin Richardson called me to say he'd arranged for me to speak in the afternoon. I said, oh, thank you. He said, well, it's the least I could do for Hal, because I was Hal's favorite preacher. As Reverend Phelps me, I saw Reverend Hezekiah Walker. I said, Reverend, don't hurt us in there today. He said, well, I'll do what I can, but I've got to give the best I can, because I was Hal's favorite. I know that Debbie and Jewel knows a lot of preachers. So I'm here because I'm Tanya's favorite preacher. Don't sell me out, Tanya. The book of Joshua, 14th chapter, 8th verse, reads, nevertheless, my brethren that went up with me made the heart of the people melt. But I wholly followed the Lord my God. Moses aware on that day, saying, surely the land wherein thy feet have trodden shall be thine inheritance, and the children forever, because thou hast wholly followed the Lord my God. Now behold, the Lord hath kept me alive. And he said, these 45 years, even since the Lord spoke this word unto Moses, while the children of Israel wandered in the wilderness, and now I am today 85 years old, and yet I am strong this day as I was the day that Moses sent me, as my strength was then. Now therefore, give me this mountain, whereof the Lord spoke in that day. For thou heardest in that day, give me this mountain. We gathered here to celebrate the life of Percy Ellis' son. In terms of black entrepreneurship, in terms of black political life in this city, in terms of black communication, Percy Sutton was in many ways our Moses. He brought us across the Red Sea of dependency, where we had to beg others to be heard. If Percy was Moses, Hal Jackson was king. You'd have to understand who Caleb was to understand who Hal Jackson was.
Amen.
Because no one can lead by themselves, and no one can fulfill a vision unless it is shared by those that see the same. We do not need to eulogize Hal Jackson for Hal, because Hal already knew what he was doing. We need to eulogize him for those of us behind him that risk to fumble the ball that he and Percy have thrown our way. The story in the Bible was that Moses sent out those among his board to survey the promised land. When they returned, most of them that went out said, Moses, we can't inhabit that land. The people that we saw in that land appear to us as giants.
Giants, come on.
And we to them as grasshoppers. There were only two in the crew, Jewel, that disagreed with them. One name was Joshua, the other's name was Caleb. They said, no, we don't agree with that. In fact, we believe we can inherit the land. And they never gave up that vision. Why? Because they understood the Exodus was not about a trip. It was about achieving a promised place. And a promised place is not a place you get without struggle, without test, without requiring faith and sacrifice. never been done before. So we fast forward 45 years in my text. Joshua had now led the children of Israel across the Jordan, and they're getting ready to give up the land, the promised land to be divided up. Joshua looks at Caleb, who's an old man now. He said, Caleb, you were there with Moses. You were one that believed when no one believed. You walked shoulder to shoulder. You can have any part of this land you want. You can have the beautiful valley. You can rest on the beaches. Caleb said, no, it's true when they gave a bad report. I counted it and I believe it's true that I walked every step of the way from the Red Sea to the Jordan. But I didn't walk this far to lounge by the beach. I didn't come this far to sell out or give in. Despite my age, give me the mountain. Because those of us that came from the shackles of bondage to the pinnacle of success, we didn't come here to retire, we came to build a new nation. Hal Jackson worked until he made his transition. Because Hal Jackson never stopped pursuing the mountain. Some of us give in so quickly. Some of us cash in our chips as soon as we can. Because we were never committed to a promised land. We just wanted a piece of comfort for ourselves. So the minute we can cash out, we gone. The minute we get one pat on the back, it's over. History is not made of those that look for their way out. History is made of those that take the rough mountains and make things that are impossible become possible. I was like the crew that was around Moses. They felt that they were talking crazy. In those days, Gary knows, we were at the privilege of assembling or Novick, letting us talk to our own community when they found it appropriate in time. To break that barrier and to think we could own ourselves and communicate ourselves and uphold our own culture and decide our own entertainment was beyond the realm of what we could see. But Hal Jackson saw it. Hal Jackson wasn't just talent on the air. He was a thinker in the boardroom. He was a creator. He was one that understood that the promised land for us was not just getting airtime, but was owning the airwaves. Who were told that they were not gifted, they were not talented, they were expected to go to a jail, they were expected to live life dependent. Hal exposing them the talent in them. And because we saw the talent in folk our ages that looked like us, we began looking for the talent in us. Hal Jackson changed how we thought, how we operated. The real question at his celebration is what we will do with the inheritance. We're in a time now where people are trying to intimidate us out of what our fathers gave us. Didn't nobody donate nothing to us. Didn't no one wake up one morning and said it'd be nice to let them communicate to one another? There wasn't no nice Negro week that they said, let's have BLS become #1 vacation time leases. Till the deal is closed, leases. Just rent a black as long as you need it. That is not what we came across the Jordan to do. We did not come this far as the children of Hal Jackson to try and accommodate how folk are going to balance their books off of our culture and our right to speak. We did not come this far for our history to be part of your portfolio. This is our birthright. These are the people that taught us our value. No accident he has a son that's a judge. No accident that Jewel McCain revolutionized the gender equality movement before we even knew what feminism was. This is our birthright in our veins. Scream for self-esteem. Because we were taught from children that we were expected to be somebody. You can't sit here today and celebrate Hal and walk out of here and allow them to remove the landmarks that Hal and Percy and others did. You realize Hal Jackson went on radio when blacks still couldn't ride the front of the bus. Hal Jackson took the insults of being told that a nigger would never be on this station, but he stayed until they owned the first network of black stations. Hal Jackson went on the AM 39 when blacks couldn't vote in most of these United States, but he stayed until we elected Dave Dinkins mayor and Barack Obama president. Don't confuse him being smooth with him being tough. Don't confuse him being debonair that you miss him being determined. Don't confuse his style with his grit. They took on the most powerful nation in the world and they changed it and adjusted it and made a way for us. We're not asked to open a door, we're asked to just keep the door open that they open. They didn't have the education. They didn't have the wherewithal. They didn't have the connections. None of that. We have so much more and do so little with it. We look to them as old and outdated when they bought stations, took New York City.
Nation
name is Will Strickland. I'm here today at Metropolitan Baptist Church, 149 Springfield Avenue in Newark. If you don't know where that's at, now you do. Okay, I'm here from Professional Life Advice Show today, and I'm interviewing and speaking with a couple of brothers from Men's Straight Talk, directed by Pastor Jefferson, and I want to hear your view. In just 1 minute, you'll hear from the men of Metropolitan. Thank you.
I'm a member of Metropolitan and also a member of the advance team. You know, today I have some situations about my community. I'm wondering where the police presence is at. The drugs are everywhere. Nothing has changed. I walk down the streets. I'm bumping in. I'm being sold drugs every corner. This is not a healthy situation. And I would like to know, what are we going to do about it?
My name is Stephen L. Outing. I'm the president of the Intergenerational Youth Organization. I just want to co-sign what my brethren just said. I heard the police director in the interview talked about they have a lot of Russian Kalashnikov guns on our streets in the city of Newark. And I would like to know, how did those guns get to the city of Newark? They say the Cold War is over, but it seems like the Cold War is being fought on our streets with the Bloods, Crips, and Latin Kings. It's time that the community come together with the church so that we can make a difference in our community.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Larry Bass here at Straight Talk at Metropolitan Baptist Church. I'm one of the members of the advance team. A big concern that I have here is actually for the African American man is to those that are coming from the prisons. They're not finding adequate work. So my question is, how do we employ these people? How do we get these men employed? How do we get them off the block? How do we get them to be successful out here in society? Us as African American people, as African American men, what are we doing? What are we doing? Who's standing up? Okay, there's a cause, there's a war out there, and there's a war on this generation of people. So what do? We need strong men to stand up, okay, and make a stand and say, listen, I'm not going to stand here. I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm sick of it. I will not take it anymore. But it starts with our politicians. It starts with us as men, and make a decision about what are we going to do. And that's my question. What are we going to do? What are you going to do?
Amen. Thank you.
Ed Wilkes, Metropolitan Baptist Church, one of the associate ministers, also Apostolic Overseer, Dominion Fellowship Ministries. We're at 202 16th Avenue. Let me just say this. There's a word in Scripture that says, "Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind." And also, Scripture tells us, "Let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus." So when we look, seek, desire, expect transformation in this city, I just want to say this: transformation begins with me. And how am I to be transformed? How are you to be transformed? By the renewal of your mind. The way you used to think, don't think that way anymore. The things you used to do, don't do that anymore. The unrighteousness that was in your life, don't live that out anymore. Let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. As a man thinketh, so is he. You think upright, you'll live upright. You think upright, you'll walk upright. And you think upright, you'll see right results. In the name of Jesus, bless you, do right, live right, walk right, and you're going to see right unfold in your life.
Hello, my name is Melvin Hall from Metropolitan Baptist Church. I'm from Jersey City, New Jersey. I'm going to talk about just how the youth of today, we're having the issues where they're wearing their pants. The young men are walking around with no care and no really positive way of knowing that people are looking and identifying with the way they look and carry themselves. You know, first you have to have an image of knowing your self-worth before that you know that God, and know that how things in your life and moving how things are going through your life, and knowing that you can't get nowhere if you don't know where you're going. So, you know, we need to just make sure that these young men understand that we have to have a positive look on ourselves inside, but it's fine once you get to where you're going to get to. No one who cares no more about how you look, but you got to get there first. Thank you.
Amen.
Hello everyone, my name is Dean Way. I'm a member of Metropolitan Baptist Church here in Newark. And basically what's on my mind concerning the Newark community is the men.
where are the uncles, and where are the stepfathers, where are the actual fathers, where are the cousins? I see the streets and our young men that are out in the street, and even though a father is not in the home, where are the other male role models? I don't have any sons. I have a godson, but I don't have any biological son. However, I'm an uncle, and I take my nephews, even though they have a father, but I take them as their uncle, as their cousins, and I do things with them that maybe their father can't, only because he might be busy working. So I take the time out to do whatever I can to help him be a better father. Show them different examples of what it is to be a man. Show them different examples that maybe he would like to do, but based on his career choice or his time frame, he can't do. So I support him. We as brothers have to learn to support one another. No, they're not my children, but yes, they are my children. Not biologically, but as a community, they are my children because they're my family, they're my future, they're my hope. So it's up to me to do whatever it is that I need to do to make sure that these young men grow up to be the best that they can. So I'm calling out all you uncles, all you brothers, to take care of those who can't be taken care of by their biological fathers. Or even those who are being taken care of by their biological fathers, help support them. You know, take them to a ball game, take them somewhere to a park, and just let them play ball. Do whatever you need to do to help support one another. We can't do this by ourselves. Yes, I'm a father, but I look for other people to take my daughter, other women to take my daughters and show them different things that maybe my wife didn't get a chance to learn. So I support that. So I go to her, to their aunts, to their cousins, to say, hey, you know what, spend some time with my daughter. Show her something that I can't show her. Because we have to support one another. So we can't always put the emphasis on a father that's not there. Because I'm sure they have uncles. They have just gentlemen that's out in the street, that's in the neighborhood to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna go talk to that young man. I'm gonna show up to the school because their father couldn't show up. I have a cousin who mentored me. You know, and a mentor is somebody that just takes responsibility. And you don't have to be blood, you don't have to be related. It's just somebody that wants to take on that responsibility. So here at Metropolitan Church, we're starting a mentor group. Why? Because we know it's important to the streets out here. Because we can't guarantee that a young man is going to have a father in his life, but we can guarantee that he has a mentor because somebody can take on that responsibility. So we're going to ask you to challenge you to continue to be a leader. You know, show the example. Don't just talk about it, brothers. We've been talking about it for a long time. Start taking action. That's the most important thing that we can do is take action. I know you know at least one young brother in your neighborhood that needs a mentor. I know you know. And if it's just grabbing them every now and then and just talking to them, listening to them, even if you don't say a word, just listen to what they have to say. Maybe they just need somebody to vent to. They just need a man to listen to them so they can sit there and be able to express themselves because their mother don't understand what it is to be a man. But just listening to them and seeing where they're going, you can help direct them. So it doesn't really take much. All it takes is to do something. Don't just sit around talking about it. Let's not just blame all these other people that don't care about our community, because if we don't care about it, why should they? If we don't take the time to care about our children, why should they?
Hello viewers, and thank you once again for tuning in to the Pro-Life Advice Show, where you too can have a professional lifestyle. My special guest today is Mr. Larry Hamm from Newark, New Jersey. Say hello, Larry.
Hello, everybody.
All right. Now, Larry is a one-of-a-kind person out of Newark, New Jersey, because he's done so much in the streets of Newark. He's a community activist, he's a mentor, a teacher, a trainer, and he's also a professional in Newark. Larry, so tell me, as a youth, tell me a little bit about yourself when you grew up.
Okay. Well, I grew up here in Newark, New Jersey. I lived for years on Ridgewood Avenue.
Ridgewood, okay.
In the Central Ward of Newark. My father passed away when I was 4, so we moved up on 12th Street between 16th and 18th.
Yeah, I know.
Across the street from Westside Park. I went to public schools. I went to South 17th Street schools, grade K through 8. and I went to Arts High School where I graduated in 1971.
Oh wow, at Arts High. So in Arts High School, I'm sure you must have had a trade. What were you doing?
I was a music major at Arts High.
Music major?
Yes.
Did you play an instrument or you sang?
Yes. Well, I played a few instruments. Actually, I had learned to play the guitar in elementary school, but not in school. I wanted to learn to play the guitar, so after my father passed away, we went to live with my grandparents. My grandfather played the banjo, so he taught me that a little bit, but then he took me to a guy who was actually a professional sign maker, but he gave music lessons in the back of his sign shop. And I told my grandfather I wanted to learn to play the guitar, so he took me down there, and that's where I learned to play the guitar and learned to read music. So when I was in the 8th grade at South 17th Street School, my teacher urged me to go take the test to get into Arts High School. I didn't want to go to Arts High. I wanted to go to West Side with all my friends. So
yeah, I was about to say, you live right across the street from West Side, virtually.
That's right. That's where I wanted to go, but they were trying to rehabilitate me because I was kind of bad in the 8th grade. I got suspended from school and everything.
We've all gone through that. That's just, right. Boys got to be boys.
That's right. So in the spring of '67, I took the test for Arts High School, and it was a cinch because I could read music, you know, from learning how to play the guitar.
Okay, excellent. Now, Larry, moving throughout your youth, you were telling me earlier, we were talking a little bit basically before we got started here about how you used to walk past and there were some people you used to see on the street, and what did you call these people here? What was going on?
I was talking to you about my political development, how I came to be a political activist, and those folks who know the streets of Newark know that Arts High School sits on what is now Martin Luther King Boulevard,
right,
but was then High Street.
Right, I remember High Street for a long time.
That's right, and back in the late 60s, Amiri Baraka and the Committee for Unified Newark had their headquarters on the corner of High Street and Springfield Avenue, right where St. Benedict's is now.
So Larry, again, we were talking a minute ago about how you basically you were walking back and forth. How did you become a political activist?
Well, I guess you can say really the rebellion of 1967 is what actually put me on the path, because I grew up in a family that really wasn't very political, and we didn't talk a lot about political issues and stuff, but when the Newark riots, what's called the Newark riots, happened in the summer of 1967.
67.
Right, that began some discussions in my family about issues of race and so on and so forth. But also, on my way to Arts High School every day, I used to pass the headquarters of Amiri Baraka and the Committee for Unified Newark.
Yeah, he's another political activist in Newark, New Jersey.
That's right. He was located on the corner of Springfield Avenue and High Street. In fact, they used to call the headquarters there 502 High Street.
Okay.
502, but its formal name was Hikalu Umoja, which means House of Unity.
Wow.
Right next to there, they had a store. The store was called Nayumbi Aujima, which is House of Cooperative Economics.
Okay.
And I used to go to school every day, and the members of that organization would be standing out in front of the headquarters. You know, I didn't know anything about them, but I know they looked different because they were wearing African clothes.
African kente cloth and so on.
Right, the brothers were wearing dashikis and everything. So I used to pass them, and they used to say, Habari Gani. And I didn't know what to say because I didn't know what that was. They were speaking Swahili.
Right.
So the people, you know, my friends would say, well, who are those people? I said, I don't know, they're the Habari Gani people, you know. But eventually, as a result of my being appointed to the Board of Education at the age of 17, becoming the youngest voting school board member in the history of the United States, I eventually met Amiri Baraka. I was appointed to the board by Mayor Ken Gibson, who was the first black mayor in the city of Newark and the first black mayor of a major East Coast city in the United States.
Back then.
And after meeting Amiri Baraka, I learned more about his organization. I learned to speak a little Swahili.
I'm sure you know what Habari Gani meant.
That's right.
All right.
And so,
in fact, let's just tell the audience, what does Habari Gani mean?
Well, Habari Gani is Swahili for how are you, what's the news? so to speak. And this comes up during Kwanzaa.
Yeah, I've heard several.
That's right. During Kwanzaa,
principles of Kwanzaa.
That's right. We celebrate the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, and on each day of Kwanzaa, you would say Habari Gani,
right? And
then the reply would be one of the 7 principles, whatever day that was on. So if it was the first day, if I said to you Habari Gani, you would say to me Umoja Habari Gani, because that's the first principle of Kwanzaa. So I learned a lot from Amiri Baraka in the Committee for Unified North.
So at that point, his organization and Amiri was almost like a mentor to you at that point.
Oh yeah, they were definitely, he and members of his organizations were mentors to me and played a major role in my political development. I mean, the first speeches of Malcolm, the first recordings of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King that I ever purchased, I purchased from Nyumba Ya Ujima. The first like black books written by black authors for black people, you know, I bought from that bookstore. I bought my first dashiki from that store. So I was very much the influence. In 1972, after I attended the National Black Political Convention, I was probably the youngest voting delegate, or one of the youngest voting delegates at the National Black Political Convention that was held in Gary, Indiana in 1972. I asked Amiri Baraka to give me an African name then, and he gave me the name Adimu Chunga.
Okay.
Yes, and so I never legally changed my name, but most of my friends actually know me by my African name. Yes.
Okay. Now let's bring it up to speed a little bit. I mean, in the city of Newark, I've seen several people with the People's Organization for Progress. Some of you guys out there call it POP, but
right.
That's the new term right now, POP. Right. But it really is the People's Organization for Progress. Tell me a little bit about the People's Organization for Progress and the mission that you guys are on and your struggles and some of the things that are going on currently with you.
Right. The People's Organization for Progress is a grassroots organization that we formed in 1983. So POP is more than 28 years old now.
Wow, it's been going for a while.
Right, and it's funny because many of us started as high school student activists. That's how I got on the Board of Education. I led a walkout at my school and a sit-in at the Gateway Hotel, the same Gateway that's across the street from Penn Station.
Wow.
200 students sat in there in March of 1971 to try to bring the board and the union back to the negotiating table so that they would end the strike and we could graduate. And
I can understand why you wanted to graduate.
Right, and it was as a result of that sit-in at the Gateway, that's how I met Ken Gibson, and I guess he was somewhat impressed with me, and that led to my appointment to the Board of Education before I was even old enough to vote, because I graduated arts high at 17, so you couldn't legally vote until you were 18. Okay. So we had been student activists. During the time I was on the board, we had a student organization called the Newark Student Federation. That was a citywide student organization. But then my term on the board was up. It was only a 3-year term. I went back to college. Many of my fellow activists, we went to college. Then after we went to college, came home, got married, had families, we still wanted to be activists. So we said, well, let's form an organization. And that's how POP came into being, officially formed in August of 1983. And to put it in a nutshell, the mission of the People's Organization for Progress is to work for racial, social, economic justice and peace. And we're an activist organization. That is, you know, we not only talk about the problems, but we actually try to organize and mobilize and bring people into the streets to do something about the problem.
Now, here lately, I've seen several people downtown Newark, like towards the, I believe it's like Market Street area, and also up by Essex County College, protesting, and I'm almost certain they're protesting for jobs. Is that right?
That is correct. On June 27th of 2011, the People's Organization for Progress started a daily campaign for jobs, peace, equality, and justice. And this campaign consisted of daily protests, right where you said, at the intersection of West Market Street and Springfield Avenue, right by the Abraham Lincoln statue across the street from Essex County College. We're there Monday through Friday from 4:30 to 6. On Saturday, we go down to Broad Market from 12 to 2, and on Sunday, we come back to West Market in Springfield from 2 to 3. So we've been doing this every day since the 27th of June, today would be 344 consecutive days of protest.
Wow.
Yes, and we have vowed to continue this at least for 381 days because that was the length of the Montgomery bus boycott.
Wow, I was about to ask you that
That's
question.
right.
What was the time frame that you guys,
That's
and
right.
why was he doing it?
Right,
Okay.
right.
So that answered my question.
That's right, because we always try to connect what we're doing to our people's historical movement for freedom, justice, and equality in this country. So we said, if our forebears, who had much less to work with than we have today, could go 381 days.
Economically and politically.
That's right. We should be able to go 381 days. And I think we're going to make it. July 11th will be the 381st day.
Okay, well, you hear that, audience? Anyone who want to help participate, July 11th, you have from between now and July 11th to get out there and support the People's Organization for Progress. And one thing I want to mention, Larry, briefly, one thing about a voice, whether people want to believe in it or not, everything, going back way back into the caveman days when they used to just beat on a drum, that voice goes somewhere.
That's right.
It goes out into the air and people hear it, and it's a resounding voice. And believe it or not, since you guys been protesting, there's been more jobs.
Yes.
So there is a coincidence there. There is a coincidence.
Well, I'm glad to
all
hear
of a sudden
that.
the economy is doing a little bit of turnaround, and actually the unemployment rate has gone down. I just wanted to mention that.
All right.
So that's a true proven fact.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that, and we need more jobs. Let me just say quickly the major demands that we have for this protest. One, we want a national jobs program to put the 26 million unemployed and underemployed people in this country back to work with jobs at a living wage. We want an end to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and the $4 trillion that's being spent on war.
I was about to say they're spending a lot of money.
Right, spend it on housing, healthcare, education, and jobs. We want to protect workers' rights to unionize and collectively bargain. We want a moratorium on home foreclosures. We want universal health care for all. We want to stop the privatization and destruction of public schools. And we want to make college education affordable for our young people.
Absolutely.
And end student debt. So there are other demands, but those are the core reasons.
Those are the core key things that you guys are on a mission for. And let me be honest with you. You hit home with one of them, and that's the college tuition. I mean, right now it's just skyrocketing. There's a lot of students out there right now who's listening. I'm sure they want to go to college. With the books alone. I mean, come on. The books alone cost you maybe $900 to $1,000. Just with the books, I had to go through that with my son.
Yes. It's. You know, it's a disgrace that in a country this wealthy, that we are placing such a heavy financial burden on our young people right at the beginning of their careers.
Correct.
I mean, they face one of the bleakest job markets that we've ever
So Larry, tell me a little bit, you were talking a minute ago about the struggle and you guys' mission regarding you're protesting for jobs, you're protesting your major mission, you're protesting for better college tuition and so on and so forth. One of the things I want to mention about that tuition thing is you're absolutely right. By the time kids get out of school, some of them, I mean, my sister went to school to be a dentist. She's working at UMGMJ now. She could owe anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000.
That's a lot of money.
And if you can only imagine the weight on their shoulders, knowing that they're going into maybe sometimes, if they're lucky, a $20,000 or $30,000 job, owing $100,000 in student loans.
It's crazy.
It's just a big burden for a lot of these young kids to adjust to, and it's something that needs to be addressed by not only Congress but by the United States altogether.
Right. Right now, there's a bill in Congress that would prevent the doubling of the interest rate on student loans. Right now, if they don't pass this bill fairly soon, interest rates on the student loans are going to double, and that's going to make the debt even bigger. The largest form of debt today in the United States is the debt from student loans. It has exceeded credit card loans. It's almost $1 trillion.
Who knew this? I mean, I had no idea.
It's a very serious problem. It's so serious that Congress had to address it. They couldn't ignore it anymore. So we must find a way to offer these young people some relief. There's no, it defeats the whole purpose of going to college. If you get a decent paying job, say you make $50,000, you start off with a $50,000 a year job, you're going to have to pay a student loan of maybe $900 to $1,000 a month.
Right, okay.
That defeats the whole purpose of going to college.
Reduces your salary.
That's right. You could have ended up with more money had you not gone to college and been lucky enough to get a job in the post office.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, it appears that a lot of these students come out and they're working for the government.
That's right. Or they're working for the banks.
Right. Working for the banks.
Whomever they're getting
loans
from.
through. That's correct.
Right.
All right. We're going to move along. Just we're going to talk a couple of things. More recently, on WBLS, they announced the other day that Mr. Larry Hamm here was nominated for one of the Steve Harvey Hoodie Awards. And I actually have the Steve Harvey Hoodie Awards book here. It's sponsored by quite a few sponsors. I'm not going to mention their names right now. But Larry, tell us a little bit about this. I know that's just phenomenal for you to be nominated for the community activist.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it was as much a surprise to me as it was to you. Okay. There were a group of people on my job. One of my co-workers, Florence, who unbeknownst to me decided to make her project my nomination for the Hoodie Awards, and I'm very grateful for Florence and the other folks that worked with her on this. But it all came very much as a surprise to me, and I was honored to be nominated for the Hoodie Awards, and I'm actually still waiting to see what the outcome is. Okay. What the outcome is going to be.
Well, I'm sure you'll do well. I mean, Larry Hamm is well acquainted with the likes of Reverend Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and so on and so forth. They all know him like on first name basis. I can tell you that. So, Larry, we're running a little short here. I want to mention a couple of things before we get out. What's some of the advice that you can give to the community? I mean, there's a lot of people out there who want to be activists. There's a lot of people who want to give their voice and want to speak out. What's some advice you can give to some young students or some college students or just people in general who might have this calling to be an activist or might have a calling or an urge or a sense of pride that they want to say something about what's going on in their community?
Well, the first thing I want to say is don't defeat yourself. You know, things are so difficult today in the community, financially, socially, in so many other ways, that a lot of people become despondent. They think it's hopeless. They think things can't change. But that's the biggest myth, and the myth that those in power want us to believe, that we can't change things, that we can't make a difference. The whole history of African Americans in the United States goes against that. Correct. We're the people who went against the grain when the odds were against us. They said we would be slaves forever. We fought against slavery, and slavery eventually ended.
Again, viewers, my name is Towanda McEachern with Supporting Our Sisters. I just wanted to take a few minutes to tell you about a book that I wrote called A Life Recycled, The Transformation. A Life Recycled is basically letting you know that it doesn't matter where you started out in life and what you've been through, that your life can be recycled. You know how sometimes we take and we throw all those recyclable goods away and it's garbage to us. But if you take all of those things and they take it somewhere and they make some crazy stuff out of it, but it's some good stuff that they make out of it, it's all recycled, and you're like, this is out of recycled goods. You can do the same thing with your life. So I invite you to visit my website. You can pick up a copy of A Life Recycled on my website, or just for more information. Monday mornings I do what's called a cup of tea. So you may ask, what's a cup of tea? It's Monday morning motivation, and it's a cup of tea because it's a cup of me. Tea, get it, Towanda. So I invite you to visit TowandaM.com, and that's TOWANDA, the letter M.com. I also do workshops and speaking engagements, so I am available for that. I am an inspirational speaker and a transformational coach. So if you want more information, please feel free to visit my website at TowandaM.com. And I also want to thank Will again from the Professional Life Advice Show. Will, this was amazing. Thank you, and God bless you.
Hi, everybody out there. We're talking about Professional Life and Advice Show, the #1 show that's out syndicated all over. I'm a comedian. What am I doing? Hey, I'll tell you, I get no respect at all. You know, I'll tell you. I'll never forget my wedding day. My wife cried. My mother cried. I took my wife to the hotel. She took off her clothes. I cried. That was one of the best comedians ever, Mr. Rodney Dangerfield. And I'm a comedian that's been on Showtime at the Apollo, HBO. And I want to tell everybody out there, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, Christmas, happy Valentine's Day. And I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the best shows you ever want to see. I pity the fool. I pity the fool don't watch this show. Watch it. It's a great show. And President Clinton would say, well, you know, I tell you right now, like I told you about Obama, I told you Obama was going to win. I was back there with him and Hillary, and I told him, I said, word is born. You're going to win election. What happened? I'm telling you, you watch the show, you're going to laugh, have a great time, and watch what happens. I'm telling you, watch it. Take my advice. All right? I'll see ya.